What's up, internets? My name is Matt. Today is July 8th and tomorrow, July 9th, the Metal Gear Solid Legacy Collection comes out exclusively on the PlayStation 3. I got this ditty a little bit early, so I figured I would do an unboxing video. I went to my box of trinkets and dragged out all my Metal Gear Solid supplies because I wanted to show you everything that's included on this compilation box set. Of course, we know Metal Gear Solid is one of the most beloved franchises on the PlayStation brand name. Beginning with Metal Gear Solid, what's included on this Legacy Collection, why don't I just go through it for a minute and tell you everything that's included. Metal Gear on the NES, Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake on the NES, Metal Gear Solid, and Metal Gear Solid VR missions. Granted, the Metal Gear Solid and the VR missions are included via download voucher. Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater, Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots, and then also what's included on this compilation disc is the Metal Gear Solid digital graphic novel. This is actually quite rare. This is hard to find now. The only way you really get this at this point is probably Amazon or eBay paying some sort of premium. IDW and Konami partnered up around the time they released Metal Gear Solid 3, and they released this original comic series. They stay very loyal to the story, and the artist that did these was Ashley Wood. I brought out a few of my comics just to show you kind of give you a taste of what the digital graphic novel has in store for Metal Gear Solid fans. The original Metal Gear Solid was released digitally on the PSP, like I said. They also did Metal Gear Solid Sons of Liberty, but it was never released in the West. It never came stateside. It was only released in Japan. It's a very cool presentation of the Metal Gear Solid collection, or excuse me, it's a very good presentation of the Metal Gear Solid story, both Metal Gear Solid and Metal Gear Solid Sons of Liberty. Of course, Konami had recently released these collection and compilation discs, if you will. This is the most recent of which was released on the PlayStation 3 in November 2011. That, for the first time, had the HD upscaled versions of Metal Gear Solid 2, as well as Metal Gear Solid 3 and Peace Walker. And then also released on the PlayStation 2, they had just it was called the Essential Collection, had Metal Gear Solid 1, Metal Gear Solid 2, and Metal Gear Solid 3. So, I'm going to swing over here so you can kind of peer over my shoulder while I look at this Metal Gear Solid disc. I already took the plastic off so you don't have to watch me fumble through that. Comes in this little slip case, pretty standard. You can see there behind the word metal, it's the Metal Gear Solid 1 version of Snake. Behind the word Gear, it looks like Big Boss from the Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker edition. And then behind the word Solid looks like Old Snake from Metal Gear Solid 4. And of course you see 1987, 2012. And the back, it just lists everything that's included on the compilation. So, without further ado, so here's the box itself. Pretty much the same thing as the slipcase. Open up. I will have already downloaded these, so don't worry about seeing my voucher. It looks like the loyalty program, there's a little code for the loyalty program. I have not heard of that, so I guess it's coming soon, spring 2013. So, and this looks like the download voucher for Metal Gear Solid and the VR missions. So that's included. Also has, looks like a just brochure for Konami gear. Looks like you get 15% off your entire Metal Gear merchandise purchase over $50. Shirts, the game Risk, a beanie, etc., coffee mugs. Some gear for Metal Gear Solid fans. And then the booklet itself, a little Metal Gear Rising Revengeance swag. The booklet itself, black and white, kind of a letdown. It is a collection, so I kind of would rather them had, I don't know, some color or original original art, perhaps. So this is inside, and what's cool to me is you get all these games on disc, which I find very cool. So that's Metal Gear 1, or Metal Gear Solid Snake 2, everything I mentioned up to the second graphic novel. Basically everything outside of Metal Gear Solid 4 and Metal Gear Solid 1 and the VR missions for Metal Gear Solid. The second disc, of course, is Metal Gear Solid 4. That is a huge... That is a lot of information. Of course, they're going to only have one Blu-ray to have Metal Gear Solid 4 featured. I'm sure that's the trophy edition of Metal Gear Solid 4 as well. So that's all she wrote. Put this back in there. So it looks like everything... Oh wait, hold on. Forgot to show you the coolest part of this. This is a little booklet it comes with. Metal Gear Solid, in my opinion, has some of the best artistic design in video games. The lead artist is Yoji Shinkawa, and that looks like some CG. Looks like they go through a little bit of history of the Metal Gear Solid legacy, starting with the first Metal Gear released on the NES in 1987. Has a little blurb on each release, so that's pretty cool. Through Peace Walker. Shows you some different box art from different regions that it released in. You can see a little bit of art there from Yoji Shinkawa. These are different promotional posters that were released for the original Metal Gear Solid. I know some of these are Japanese promotional posters, just because I recognize them. That one certainly is, on the left there. A lot of great art on these. This is really cool. Gives you a really good, I think, comprehensive look at the release of Metal Gear Solid. A lot of the promotional material that went into its release. I believe it goes through, man, quite a lot there. This digital graphic novel looks like some promotional. Looks like it has some information on the bottom there. It tells you, yeah, poster. Like, for example, Metal Gear Solid, Bandai Desinee poster, JP, so it denotes Japan, etc., etc. Pretty cool. A lot of promotional stuff, like I said. Looks like it does this for every game that is included on this disc. I know both of these are Japanese. I actually have this poster. These were caricature posters released for Metal Gear Solid 2 in Japan only. Same with all of these. Pretty awesome. Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence. That's the original North American version, etc. I have this poster as well. Amazing. A lot of promotional stuff. Like I said before, it just gives you a pretty comprehensive look at some of these. All this promotional stuff. I know this was an E3 release that I think made the first E3, E3 2003. So a lot of this stuff, I think a lot of people in the United States, even Metal Gear Solid fans, probably haven't seen all of this stuff. Metal Gear Solid 4, 2008 release. I remember a lot of these posters. The only way you could really get these is buying them on eBay or something, and they're, for any Metal Gear Solid fan, you know that these come at a premium for sure. This is expensive to get a hold of one of these posters. Etc. That's the HD edition, which we have right over here as well. And that comes with its own art book. So here's some of the older ones, 1987, that's pretty cool. So there you have, oh, and here's a little look ahead. Posters for Metal Gear Solid 5. Of course, we don't have a release date on this yet. My guess is part of the reason they wanted to release this collection is to get people ready for Metal Gear Solid 5, get people psyched up again. This, like I said before, this collection is a little bit different. This is the most comprehensive, I think, collection of Metal Gear Solid ever released. So there you have it. Like I said before, my name is Matt. I also host a podcast called The Circle Button. I'll have the links in the comment section below. Thanks for sticking around. I hope Metal Gear Solid fans like the collection. See ya.